Okay, so I've got a little bit of a treat here. This is a Winston Shrout student follower that's been sentenced to, as we can see here, 56 months in jail for a number of things. Let's start with the smoking gun. Quote, Croteau also ordered CDs on the internet from and watched YouTube videos created by a man named Winston Shrout, even paying $500 to attend one of Shrout's two-day seminars. You heard that right, $500 for a two-day seminar. Now let's, this is actually interesting here. I want to read some of the things here. First of all, this is basically 10 false income tax returns. That's not really the interesting part. Here we go. Croteau got into trouble for filing 1099 OIDs, which is something promoted by Winston Shrout, which I've covered in previous videos. It explains the decision. I'm going to link it. The decision explains what 1099 OIDs are. I kind of try to explain it in the other video, but that's not really the interesting part. Here we go. After he filed this stuff, you can see that the IRS sent him some documents explaining why he has to pay taxes and told him to get advice from a competent tax professional or attorney. Now, keep in mind this was in September 2008, so he was warned 8 years previously that what he was doing would result in jail time, and he still kept doing it. Now, check this out. Over the next 2 years, he kept doing it. You can see there. That's not actually the interesting thing. He did it again in 2009. He tried to get a refund for $100,000. Then in 2008, he tried to get a refund for $600,000. What else? In 2010, he tried to get a refund for almost $1 million. Let's see what else. It's not that interesting. It's a little bit further down. Here we go. He also filed a bunch of fake, essentially fake paperwork via e-filing. Then, this is the interesting part. Here we go. Quote, from 2008 to 2012, Croteau, I think that's how that's pronounced, created, submitted, and recorded various fictitious and fraudulent documents claiming rights to millions of dollars owed to him by the U.S. Treasury and various government agencies and officials. For example, Croteau sent multiple fictitious instruments resembling stock certificates to the Secretary of the Treasury, claiming $300 million in bonds. That's something that Winston Shrout promotes on his videos and seminars. Croteau asked the Secretary to deposit the bonds into credit, for credit into Croteau's private offset account. Again, pure Winston Shrout. Next to his signature, he affixed his fingerprint, which is interesting. You know, these guys always put fingerprints on their documents. What else? He also filed liens. You can see there. He also created a notice of lien, diplomatic immunity, and identity bond on land and private discharging and indemnity bond for $300 million, which is, again, more Freeman stuff, more Winston Shrout stuff. Here we go. This is a trial. Not actually that interesting. These are some of the witnesses. Not actually that. Here we go. Received multiple warning letters. Wow. Croteau was warned that the things that he was doing was a scam. That's not actually, there's another thing. That's not actually that good. This is a good part. This is a good part. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Croteau owned a welding company for 25 years. But by 2005, his business failed. In 2006, he was injured in a motorcycle automobile accident and hospitalized, and his wife divorced him. After that, he joined the tax protest and sovereign citizen movement, which is a little bit of a pattern here. Usually, there's some sort of event that leads people into these groups. Here you go. This group advocated that its members did not need to submit to government authority or pay taxes. As he read more, he concluded that sovereign citizen theories made sense to him. What else? They donated money to join a sovereign citizen group with fake IDs and driver's licenses, blah, blah, blah. And this is where Winston Shrout gets involved. This is where he orders CDs from Winston Shrout and goes to seminars. Here we go. Croteau testified that based on the hold on, what's going on here? I think this isn't working. Okay, here we go. Croteau testified that based on the information from these sources, he came to believe that he had a secret Federal Reserve bank account containing money to which he was entitled. He also testified that he learned from Shrout that he could access his principal money by using 1099 OID. He also came to believe that the United States is a corporation and that citizens are employees of that corporation. What else? That's not actually that interesting. They called an expert on sovereign citizens' theories to add the trial. These theories lack historical basis, were not real, and were totally fantasy. Explained that the IRS scam involving 1099 OIDs emerged in the late 2000s is considered a top scams in recent years. Todd testified that these ideas were promulgated through the internet, seminars, DVDs, and YouTube videos, with Winston Shrout being one of the main proponents. What else? Also had a shrink. Yeah, well, that's not the proper word. Psychologist. That's not that actually interesting. Actually, that's a little bit interesting. Dr. Toomer opined that Croteau's delusional condition caused him to persist in filing frivolous tax forms and documents, despite repeated warnings and instructions by the IRS. What else? A little bit further. Not that actually interesting. This is boring sentencing things. They calculated tax loss of $4 million. The advisory guidelines was 51 to 63 months of jail. He asked for a reduced sentence because he had anxiety disorder, delusional disorder, and personality disorder. What else? Interestingly, here we got mentioned that his brother Armand went to jail for 27 months for similar things. A little bit further down, we have more sentencing things. Final decision was 56 months in jail. Oh, wait. And then 36 months for count 11 sentences concurrently, so it was only 56 total. And they talk about evidence. This is actually kind of boring. Actually, this is actually kind of interesting. They have to prove that Croteau knew that the claim was false. Which is actually kind of interesting. Croteau does not challenge the claim. Well, this is kind of boring, actually. This is all boring stuff. For example, here we go. Government is not required to prove motive. It's simply required to prove knowledge of falsity, and in doing so, it's allowed to rely on circumstantial evidence. And circumstantial evidence, for example, is that he was warned about the falsity of the returns by the IRS. What else? Willfulness. This is kind of all boring here. Applying. Something a little bit more interesting. General intent. This is all boring. Testimony. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's just read the final. If the penalties for all charges are combined, the maximum was 53 years, and he only got 27 months. So they argue that the 56 months is reasonable. So they affirm the conviction. And one final thing. This is from the Court of Appeals, which is an important point. Normally, this would be This was appealed from the United States District Court, Middle District, Florida. This only gets bumped up to where you can search for it if you appeal it. So there's probably a lot more people in jail because of stuff by Shrout that we don't know about because these people have not appealed their cases.